Hello and welcome. In 2019 I recorded a training day at KDF Manchester. The guys were training with all manner of weapons including Sabre. In this video I'm chatting with Phillip Windslow, a passionate Sabre enthusiast from Manchester Historical Fencing Club. This review video is not a critical assessment of individual fencers, but is hopefully an informative and discussion prompting look at sparring techniques and training practices. So let's jump into the review. I've got to get used to this myself.
What am I doing? I don't even know anymore. The last one.
The last one.
Where Liam decides he's going to go full 1700.
So you read your notes?
No. Did better last time not looking at them, didn't I? So straight off he cuts 7 and then cuts 6 at the arm. That's his favourite thing for the iron broadsword. Oh yeah, and then he does Taylor's 10 lesson number 4. Withdraw the leg cut to the head, yep. And then some doubles. A bit read.
Lovely.
Let's have it a watch and a laugh. We could watch it through and then...
Hello and welcome back. And this time we're on the 4th and final video of our review of the Sabre versus Sabre from several years ago from the KDF group in Manchester, who have now renamed, and links in the description below to the Facebook page and website so that you can see that they're still training. And let's run through the video. I'm here still with Phillip Windslow.
You won't let me out.
From Manchester Historical Fencing in Oldham or Chadderton? Greater Manchester.
I suppose it is Oldham, really, isn't it?
So we've got Green Jacket back, which is our friend Liam. He's A. And we've got B in black.
Nice.
Did he manage to get the throat there?
Excellent. So he's feinted his opponent onto the outside guard and has made cut free to the wrist. Taylor 10 lesson number 4.
You've mentioned this Taylor 10 lessons before.
Yes, because they're great fun. So there's an inside guard, outside. Cut free.
Barely noticed.
Okay, so another bit of Highland broadsword. If your opponent goes for a low target, withdraw your leg, strike the head. It's trigonometry. So A is trying, it's very much in keeping with some of the Highland systems, is this: every time you block, you withdraw your front foot all the way to your back foot, almost feet together. It's a good thing to do. You're getting out of the way in case your block fails, and the block is still there in case your dodging failed. And if your opponent overcuts, it means that, they've swung their sword past you and you can get them now.
Because that was quite good there.
That was another one where he's withdrawn the leg and tried to take the head. Testing, trying to, every time he lifts his arm and exposes it, he's making it protect it. So I think he withdrew then, realised he wasn't getting quite far enough away, and he has dropped down to a hanging guard to try and out the sword away. So something that Liam really likes is these Highland broadsword things. And there's one feint that he really likes where you make that cut there. So he's feinting a cut 7, and the minute the opponent brings up the sword to, say, St. George's Guard to block it, he's exposing the arm, and so he's then making a quick cut across at the arm.
So it's A's favourite.
Yes.
So we can pull that up.
Just there. It's just the slightest flick of a cut 7, and cut the arm. Again. So a slight variation on it there. A cut 7 into a cut 3 across, and as the opponent's raised his arm to come back with another cut, has then made the cut 6. So that's another withdraw out of the way.
He's getting quite a few hits on the hand in this one.
Always, it's less target to go for. Oh, he didn't quite then, though, did he? Backed him into a table so he can't make any escapes. So yes, B got him then.
He's not learned. He's not moved away from the tables.
Yeah. There we go. Give him some more space. Aha! Now that was a good one. So he's completely changed his tack and went straight down for a cut to the leg. I think he's going to try it again with interesting consequences in a second.
So let's just watch that first cut to the leg. And almost directly at the foot.
Because he ducks his head well out of the way of the cut that's coming and makes a cut to the leg.
There isn't any protective footwear, is there? I've not seen anything.
You get some, I think, metatarsal ones or on riot police gear, can't you? But it's, something you should try not to get hit on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because it worked last time, it did it again. And this time, it's inside the ankle.
Let's just pull that one up again.
Yeah, not good.
That was the
It's got him on the leg. Leg worked. He tries it again. And this time gets him on the leg.
I think A swore a few times. I think I managed to bleep him.
Got his ankle.
You okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, be careful
not
of
good.
exposed areas.
Have you had many injuries at the club? Anything come to mind? No one had their eye poked out or anything like that?
I've broken a finger.
Yeah.
But I think that is actually it for injuries.
Not yourself, but anyone at the club, anything?
No, that's what I mean. I think that's it for injuries. Is just me being stupid. So
I try to think.
play with swords, you'll get hurt.
Yeah.
But no, we try our best to ensure that everybody has as much kit on as they're willing to. And if people don't want to spar, fair enough. Just we make it clear that you grab one of us, we'll go through something. I mean, there's plenty of stuff to go through. There's all sorts of fun to be had, even if you don't want to, wail on each other.
So what's your minimum level of equipment for sparring? I mean, do you helmet, gauntlets, shin guards, or...
It depends on the sparring. Low intensity sparring is something that may sound daft, but I think really helps. And wearing the minimum of a gloves and a lid and then taking it carefully, slowly, it's not something that you do if you're going to try and go out of your way and score points.
Because we are using this in order just to protect yourself. We're not doing armoured combat, are we?
No.
Armoured combat's slightly different, so we are training in an unarmed combat, but we're wearing protective clothing just to aid ourselves whilst we do sparring, etc.
I think it's important sometimes to see how you feel without the kit on. You get, at least in longsword, so many doubles. If I do, anyway. I think that's more a reflection of my skills in longsword. But we find that if telling people, look, don't go all out, and just try this, and then we can armour up and have a proper go all out if you want with full kit on. But try with minimal kit, just something to protect the eyes and the hands. And bear in mind that both you and your opponent have that on. Be sensible. And then take it carefully, take it slowly, and watch how much more careful people are. See how fewer doubles you get. People, well, I'm invincible, I'm the juggernaut. You just go in for it, don't you? But if you've got to be like, I don't know, it might... if you suddenly become a bit more conscious that actually I should be more worried about this. This is a sharp blade and I'm fighting for my life. Maybe I need to be a bit more careful. Maybe I need to be a bit more cautious. Maybe I need to employ some sneaky tactics to try and get my opponent where I want them to be, rather than just going, it's on now, and seeing how it goes. It's interesting to see the difference. But yeah, if people are going to spar, full out sparring, then jacket, lid, gloves, back of head protector, and definitely something on the legs, and anything else that you can put on that may help you, and only if you are happy with the amount of stuff on and that your opponent has on.
The only thing I haven't tried at the moment is chest guards. Have you ever tried any of them?
Yes, yes, I have. Because once when sports fencing, somebody snapped a foil blade on me, and it went through my fencing jacket, but it didn't go through my under jacket. So I keep that under jacket with me, and will happily put it on from time to time. If there's something where there's quite a lot of thrusts, if we're doing something very thrust orientated, I'd recommend it if you're gonna go in there.
So your under jacket, is that the a plastic perspex?
I've got a fabric one.
Right.
I've got a fabric one myself, but there's plenty of them around the fencing centre that are plastic ones that can be used if people need them or want them, because that's more the thing. If you are happier wearing more gear, it's there, put it on.
Going back to not having any protective equipment, the only time I've ever trained like that was at Kings of the North, where we're doing lots of staff, quarter staff training, and the instructor there, she said, don't wear gauntlets or anything. And it does make you aware, make you think about it, especially when you...
I think especially with staff, because I've only had a go at it a very long time ago when I did a bit of reenactment. And from what I can recall, you could put on a fencing mask and a blow of a staff will crush that and do you some serious damage under it. So it's best you don't have it on and you know your opponent doesn't have that protection, that you should be good to them. I think that is very important.
I think if you've got a staff and you're going to hit someone that hasn't got a helmet on, that's just a murder blow, isn't it?
Well, exactly. So you're not going to do it, are you? Whereas if they had the protection on, you'd probably be like, oh, he's got protection on. Yeah, of course. And bad things would happen.
Yeah, it's the swing. Yeah.
It's leverage. I mean, I feel safer doing Sabre than longsword, because the amount of power you can put into a blow from a longsword, it's like, sometimes if you get a proper one on the side of the head, you must have had it where you just go, oh, give me a minute.
It's not the heads that stick to my mind. It's always the thumb and the fingers. I used to wear the Red Dragon gloves. For
longsword?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry for your loss.
I even did do the adjustments with getting the fingertips, but I also made my own by getting more plumber's pipe.
Who doesn't use duct tape and bits of pipe and whatever you can get your hands on?
I now have the Spez gauntlets, and they brilliant protection, but you don't feel anything.
They are brilliant protection. However, when I broke my finger, I was wearing Spez gauntlets.
Wow, how did that happen?
Quite easily. Because if you cross above your head to try and make a strike, with the material underneath you're holding down, the gauntlet itself was up slightly. So there was just the very edge of my finger.
Which finger was it? Your middle
finger.
Right.
Mark was mortified. I mean, it happens. Like, it's going to happen at some point. We were at the point where we were fighting like twice a week.
Right.
So at some point, after a couple of years, somebody's going to hit somebody and go, shh, sorry, man. You know. I think it's better. That was a case of the gauntlet being unmaneuverable and me doing something silly at a time I shouldn't have. I shouldn't go near a longsword. But with a Sabre, you get a lovely guard on them. And so you can have a bit less hand protection, a bit more maneuverability. And also feel safe because you've got a nice metal guard. I value that so much.
So what gloves are you going to go for next? Is any of the new generations you've seen that you like?
What's his Pro Gauntlet? Oh, I think that's been in development forever. No, what do I use currently? I have some Riot Police gloves, which I've used, and I keep buying the same Riot Police gloves because they're not bad. They could do with more protection on the wrist, but a rubber tube works quite nicely around them. Because with being a glove, it'll have plenty of protection on the back and segments on the top of the fingers, but there's nothing here. And if you get, say, a lovely cut free in the middle of Taylor's lesson number 4, and it hits you right on that bone, you know all about it. You have that pins and needles feeling. You're like, you know what? I'll be back in 5 minutes because I can't pick anything up for 5 minutes. Yeah. But there's always going to be, do you want maneuverability or a decent level of protection? And trying to get the combi of the two. There's a fella who, he comes and does Sabre with us from time to time, and he has DIY'd himself the most beautiful basket hilt. It's a wonderful construction of all sorts of bits of padding and duct tape.
A thing of beauty then.
It's a wonder. Does the job though, keeps his hands safe. So he's quite happy to try different things and new things that you wouldn't be in a sparring match because you're like, oh, I don't know if I don't want to get hit, do I?
So you'd have a lighter glove on your sword arm and a heavier glove on the
offhand, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or I'd keep the offhand well behind me.
Rather than just on your hip, you do have it in your lower back.
To be honest, I tend to put it on like the front of the top of my leg. So because I feel if I got it too far behind, I'm sort of turning myself. But I think that's probably in my head. I just keep it about where my pocket is. Hands in pocket. No, not quite, but...
Okay. All right, let's carry on with the video then. Let's see how far we got.
It's going on with it. Don't feel like you have to go on if you take a good crack, but sometimes you can run it off. Hi. Once again, trying to cut through at the wrist and lift his hand to attack.
Yeah. I sort of rested the blade on you, so I didn't feel. Yeah,
So B automatically went for another one. Let's just watch that just before the end there.
Yeah, so A changed his attack slightly. He's been doing lots of these, either cut 3s or 5s to that side, and then sort of coming back with a cut 6.
Yeah. I sort of rested the blade on you, so I didn't feel. Yeah,
Another cut 5, and then instead he transitioned from doing the cut 6 to going straight down to a cut 7, just to change things up.
So how was that one? The overall different styles.
No, it was interesting that bout because it's always good to see two different styles against each other. If you end up training, you always end up training against somebody doing the same thing or using the same weapon, and just switching it up every so often. It's an interesting change, and it's nice for yourself to see whether what you've learnt stands up when put in a situation that you were not expecting.
Right, so that's the end of the fourth and final one there. Thank you, Philip, for coming along and doing this review for me. I know it's not been too stressful, has it?
If I plan anything to say, it's gone wrong.
You gave me copious notes, but of course notes always go out the window. So I'd just like to say thank you for Philip. There'll be details below for links to his club. And
it's not mine.
Well, you're one of the instructors.
Oh yeah. Well, we'll do. We'll stick a hand in.
Is it a cooperative?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, everybody knows a little bit of something, and so together, when Paul Bennett stopped at Skol Gladiatoria Manchester, it was just a case of, well, not one of us feels like we know enough, but together, actually, we could do all right. So, yeah, it works nicely with. It also means that if somebody can't be there one day, then somebody else can be there. Somebody can sort of entirely go in for longsword, and I can entirely go in for sabre. Yay!
Hold that thought, though, because what I'll do, we'll end this review here. and then I'll do another video all talking about Phil, and he can tell us more about that. So thank you for watching. Thank you, Phil.
No worries.
Thanks for watching. Head over to the next review video or leave a question in the comments below.